cut off a skin tag.
Bruh.
What? Come on now, like you've never done that? Hi, my name is Delilah, and I am here to share with you some top 10 sewing notions that I think would be like very helpful for you. So I just kind of want to share with you my list, and the first one are these pinking shears. Now, these pinking shears work really well to help stop fraying of any fabrics. So it works really well like if you're doing some fashion sewing, maybe you are sewing together the collar and you don't want to run it through the serger because that's going to provide even more bulk, and so you use these to cut around the edges. It actually works really well cutting around curves as well. So I use these a lot. You can get them on Amazon. I also purchased these off of Amazon. I can't remember the exact brand, but I will put a link to it in the descriptions tab below. Now, as I'm going through this list, please share your favorite notion in the comments below because I would love to get your ideas as well. I think there's a lot of sewing notions out there. I tried to keep it to just 10 of my favorite most used notions. And so this next one right here is Fray check. I love this. Let me know if you use this as well. So if you sew with wovens, even if you sew with rayons, a lot of times they fray. And if you're in an area where you don't use your serger, maybe you don't have a serger, then you can put Fray check. I also use this when I'm doing V-necks, or a part where you have to clip when you're sewing and you have to clip it right down to the thread, to the sewing line. I use this Fray check, and it's just liquid that you just dot on anywhere. They also have this available on Amazon. I will put a link to that one down below as well. I'm looking for your thoughts. I think a must-have is a great like marking tool. So if you need to mark like where the buttons are and things like that. So there's like water soluble pens, there's ones that you iron and they disappear. I've tried all of them, and sometimes they will still leave a mark. And I've noticed that with other people too. They'll do a beautiful piece of work and then they go to remove that like disappearing ink, and it doesn't go away and it ruins their pattern. So I don't use one. The only thing I've done is like chalk because I just don't trust them. Another thing that I use when I have to mark things is a Sharpie. I'll use a black Sharpie, and obviously it'll be in parts. I use it in parts where I'm gonna cut or sew anyways. But let me know if you have a good marking tool. The other thing that I get so frustrated with about marking tools is a lot of times you can't even see it. So I have like a blue pencil tailoring pen, and I try to mark things, but then I can't even see it. So that's why I'm like, you know what guys, I'm not messing around. I'm just gonna use my Sharpie and do, little marks on that. But of course that doesn't work out when I need it on an area that is going to see. So please let me know if you have a good marking tool that you just swear by. Okay, so the next tool that I have here is really good for quilters. I think that's what got me set on these, but I think it is just as important when you're doing fashion sewing, and it's these acrylic rulers right here. You will want to use these on everything. So for example, a lot of seamstresses use this ruler, and so that has the notches as well. So like when you're doing hems, or you need to like roll something up for a sleeve, or just any folding measurements, things like that. But I think this one is a little bit better because it also helps you line up, because it's long this way and that way. It also helps you like when you're like trying to determine the placement, like even when you're trying to put on a pocket, like sew up a pocket really straight. I actually have tons of different sizes because I quilt as well, but these are just as important, I feel like, when you are sewing garments as well. Okay, the next one, and I lost count of what number we're on. Okay, these scissors, these are Ginger brand scissors, and I've had these for probably like 8 to 10 years now, and they are still so super sharp. These are so helpful to get into small little areas that you need to clip. I don't know, you just need these. Also, if you can't find your seam ripper, which yeah, we all, need our seam rippers too, but these are so tiny that it'll even clip different threads that you need to get out of your garment. And that tip is so sharp. I don't know. I just love these. I know they have these on Amazon as well. They also have them at Joann's, but you'll want to like hide them from the rest of your family members. I only use these strictly to cut fabric. I mean, I have actually once used these to cut off a skin tag.
Bruh.
What? Come on now. Like, you've never done that? Let's go to a commercial break. Okay, so I am going to keep it just sewing. Okay, so the next one on the list is these rotary cutters. Now, I watch a lot of fashion sewing channels and they use fabric scissors, and I do have a really expensive pair of Ginger larger scissors as well for fabric. But I find that this rotary cutter, it is so fast. Okay, so if you have a rotary cutter, then I guess I need to say that you will want to have a cutting mat as well. Cutting mats are kind of expensive. I think they're like maybe $40, $50. I don't know, I bought mine years ago and it'll last you forever. When you're cutting out just anything like dresses, squares, whatever that you need, strips of fabric to do like ruffles on your dresses, this is so fast. I can't imagine using the scissors to try to hurry and cut it out. Plus it keeps your garment flat on the cutting mat so that you can get more precise cuts. So I definitely recommend investing in this. This is an Olfa brand, and I think they have this one on Amazon as well. If I have the link, I'll put it in the descriptions tab. And definitely though, this is worth the money because I feel like it will save you a lot of time. And no, I haven't used this for like any medical procedures. So the next one that I want to share with you is a walking foot. Now, a lot of people might think, oh, that's just for quilting. But these walking feet are gonna walk right out of here. Just kidding. Okay, so this right here is really good when you are sewing. Let's say that you're trying to make like a jacket, or you're sewing something with wool, or you're making like a wool coat, or that right there I made using this walking foot because it's a little bit thicker fabric. I can't remember, it's like a rib sweater. It's a sweater knit fabric, and I find this so good. It's amazing because it will just evenly feed your fabric through the sewing machine, and so you're not going to get like puckers or anything. It's a night and day difference. If you've never tried one of these, you have to try it because it's going to just take out all kinds of frustrations that you might have when you're sewing thicker fabrics. So the next thing that you're going to want to invest in is a really good iron. Okay, not so that you can iron your husband's clothes. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about so that you can get really nice polished finishes with your garments. When you're ironing like a collar on, cuffs, seams, you'll want to iron every seam as you're going along sewing. And so I have this cordless iron. It's over there. It's like clear over there on the other side of my sewing room. I don't really want to walk over there and get it. Okay, I guess I should probably go get it so that you guys can see. It's cordless. Okay, I will go get the iron here in a second, but first let me just move on to the second one, and it is a tape measure. You really want to get yourself a tape measure. I don't know how you would make garments without a tape measure, because when you are working on like a McCall's or Simplicity pattern, something like that, you want to pick the size that would be your finished garment measurement size. Okay, let's see, why is this in a knot here? How did I manage to tie this in a knot? Okay, now when you are making garments, you're gonna wanna know like what your bust size is, okay? So you don't want to guess what your bust size is. If you're gonna take the time to make the garment, you want it to fit right, okay? If you just make it and then you finish it and you try it on, your garment's not gonna lie. Your garment's gonna be like, well, I guess you were a little bit more chubbier than you thought. So numbers don't lie. Make sure that you measure your bust, your waist. I actually got this at Joann's. I think it was like 99 cents. Okay, I guess I'll go and get the iron now. Okay, so it sits on this platform. You can't see it over there. But it's wireless, so I love, yeah, it's wireless, it's cordless. It's got the different settings up here, and it's got the water in it. This is a Panasonic one, and so you just iron, and I think it only stays hot for like 50 seconds, and then you just stick it back on the thing and it warms up again, and then you iron, stick it back on the charger, and it warms up again. And so this one is very useful because you don't have to fight around with the cord. But this has been very convenient. I really like this. It's on Amazon. I actually got it as a Christmas gift last year from my daughter, and I will put the link of this one in the descriptions tab below as well. Okay, so another thing with sewing is you're going to want to explore the different feet that are out there, sewing feet we're talking, and I really love, let me see, well, there's this one that is like the 1/4 of an inch that, you know, you would use like for quilting, but it actually is very good to use. It's got a little notch on it that'll line up to the edge of the fabric. And so that one keeps it at a 1/4 of an inch, which I know when you're sewing garments, it's not really a 1/4 of an inch, but in some areas it would be. The next one that I have is this one, and it's got the notch on it in the middle. And that one will line up to the edge of the fabric as well. And it will provide a perfect top stitch every time. I'm thinking again of Legally Blonde, you know, like the bend and snap works every time. Okay, you guys, I'm actually having a lot of fun sharing all these sewing notions with you. Another thing that I wanted to add with sewing feet, I cannot get enough of this one right here. It's the rolled hem foot, and I also have a video on how to master the rolled hem foot technique, which will just finish your hems really beautifully and fast. Because all these sewing notions that I'm showing you guys, it's going to help you sew your garments faster, but also make them look professional, you know, like you've taken your time. I could not finish half of the stuff that I do. Like I make a lot of dresses, like for me and my daughter, I sew with a lot of rayon. This is an absolute time saver if you can get that skill down. Okay, so for the longest time, okay, now we're moving on to the next on the list. I would always use like needles and pins, you know, for sewing and quilting. But I actually discovered these clips. I think it's been about like 2 years now that I use these. I feel like when you use pins, it kind of shifts the fabric a little bit, but these just clip and they're super fast. And I feel like the older I get, it's hard for me to carry those pins with my big fingers. And so these ones are a little bit bigger, and so you can just clip them onto your fabric and then, you know, clip them off. So you can use these for like quilting and sewing your garments as well. Do not buy these at Joann's, because I think you can get like 8 for like $12 at Joann's. But if you go on Amazon, I believe it's like 50 clips for 10 bucks. So I will leave a link to that one in the descriptions tab as well. So these are really not very expensive at all. Okay, next on the list is a great thing for, these are actually called pattern weights, and these are very cost effective as well, because I use these, or I mean, I bought these from Home Depot, and they're washers, I think is what they're called, and they're like 60 cents, and I just place these on top of my fabric before I cut it. If you're like bulk cutting, like for, let's say, quilting, or you're cutting out your pattern to make a dress or something like that, I always just throw these on there. So far I only have 6 of them, but I'm looking to get more because they're super helpful and very inexpensive. And I also want to thank you. That's it. We got through the list. So let me know which ones that you find helpful and if you want to see more videos like this. So I want to thank you so much for watching and supporting my channel. Until next time, happy sewing. Bye guys.